recording. Yeah, that looks good. So we can go to cam 1.
All right. What's the internet?
Yeah, it's on the internet now.
Found
Yeah.
us.
Oh,
More
boy.
podcast.
Facebook
where
Live.
we want you God more
Is it?
deeply.
Yeah.
Find lasting
Right now I'm
freedom.
gonna look.
Discover
go
your
up there.
destiny and make an eternal difference.
Oh,
Now.
look it up.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, I got
It's kind of weird just looking at
you.
your.
That's silliness. I'm looking at myself looking
You're
at
looking at
myself.
yourself, looking at yourself,
Enough
looking
of
at
that.
yourself. Yeah. So
Success. We're now on Facebook Live.
we're on Facebook Live,
That's
and
cool.
we have it on Subsplash and everything. So we'll see
Okay.
what happens there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, what a week. We finally got all the technology taken care of.
It is a lot, though. It's
Yeah.
a lot of technology.
And this little thing is pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
It's a little box that you hit the number or hit the little square.
Yeah.
And I'll show the people online. You can change the camera angles. There's beautiful
boy.
Ted right there.
Hey-oh.
And then we can
I
go
don't know
to
where
the
to
double
look.
screen. I know. And then we could do this if we're like, oh, hey, we're just starting the stream. So,
Okay.
but yeah, so we good. And then also, if you look to my left,
Oh, yeah.
we have the Wheel of Destiny from Wilson Insurance, which basically this is how we're going to pick and choose the winners now.
Yeah. That's
so
good.
there's no question.
No questions.
No
on
question
whether or
if
not we're
we-
cheating or not.
Yeah, right. Because we are not now.
No.
It's right there.
We have never.
Well, there's been conspiracy theories that have said we have. I don't believe
That'll
them.
be the next conspiracy corner.
That's right. That we have been.
Have we rigged?
Maybe we have. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not admitting to any of that. Honestly,
No.
I'm just.
For sure.
You could say whatever you want. I'm not believing any of it. Well, do you ever wonder why you take the time each week to listen to more podcasts? I'll tell you why. More stands for maximizing opportunities for right now and for eternity. So stop asking why you listen. Just never forget to listen and pass it on. And so
That's right.
you're launching this live right now, but
Yeah.
also we have the produced version
Yep.
that is on our app, our Subsplash.
Which do you prefer?
I don't know. I mean, I'll watch either way. I like the other one because I have music that I can tie into
Yeah.
it. Eventually, when I get a bigger keyboard,
Yeah.
because I'm looking for one right now,
Okay.
then I'll be able to add all that stuff live. So
Okay.
then I think it'll be up to the listener who what they want to
Yeah, I
listen.
think that to get the full effect of Pastor Alex's genius,
Oh.
the produced one.
The
for
produced
sure.
one, yeah, because
Yeah.
you get to have all the fun music
Yeah,
behind things, yeah.
right.
And so now we don't have the capabilities right now because we don't have enough cue buttons over here. You see those lit up buttons over here. We don't have enough to put on there. So we're looking for a box that's bigger
Yeah.
that use for like radio stations and stuff. So maybe we'll get it.
Maybe
we'll-
someone would want to sponsor that, Pastor.
Maybe
Alex.
somebody will sponsor a bigger cue box for
Yeah,
us.
it'd be cool.
Yeah, I just got to find the right because they're
Don't
out
buy
there.
one. Just pay for it. Let you pick it.
Yeah,
right? Don't
yeah.
buy one.
Don't buy it. No.
Yeah.
I
if
have
someone
my
wants
eye
to
on
buy
one. I
it
just got to
for
figure
us.
out where to find that one that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Well, today's podcast has been brought to you by K Jewelers. You didn't know we had to sponsor. This is
I
good.
did not
yeah.
know this.
So you're
in
just
time.
hanging out at home and, watching TV when the phone rings and it's your best friend reminding you that Valentine's Day is this Friday. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I am too. I don't know what I'm going to give.
Yeah.
You begin to feel the sweat drip off your palms as you realize that I'm dead. No money in your pocket, no gift in your hand because you forgot. Well, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. Check out K Jewelers. They have thousands of gifts to choose from that won't dig deep into your pocket. This Valentine's Day, you can put a farm fresh egg from some of the best artesian farms in northern Michigan on same day cash for that special loved one. Because we know, nothing says love like
That's true.
an egg now.
Breakfast.
So get something that says you really love her. K Jewelers Egg Collection.
Yeah.
That's our sponsor.
I feel like we should have like an egg counter.
No, we
egg
should.
countdown thing of like, what's the price of eggs this week?
Yeah. Well, a while back it was like $7.
That's incredible.
$7-8 at Walmart. I was really surprised.
Really?
Yeah.
$7.
$7. I was really surprised. I went to the Walmart in Gaylord.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was just wanting to check it out just for
Yep.
because I don't eat a lot of eggs.
No.
My family does, but I don't. And so I was walking over there and I'm like,
That's
oh
art smart.
my
there,
gosh.
Pastor Alex.
Is it egg?
Yeah.
I just
Good for you.
I don't know.
Good
After
protein.
after COVID and I lost my
Mhm.
taste, my
Yeah.
normal taste and smell. It's got a weird thing for me now. It's something metallic. It doesn't
Okay.
always taste well. So So I don't eat as much as I
Yeah.
used to. I do like a deviled egg though. I will
Yeah.
eat those, yeah, because they mix something in there.
I know, but that makes it not good.
Yeah,
A
well,
scrambled egg, a fried egg is good for you.
they put mayonnaise and
If we're starting to think about our health more
yeah,
around here,
yeah,
the deviled egg is not the one.
It's
You know what
not?
I heard him call the other day? There's this guy on. I watch a lot of like people cooking food.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's like put on some Barry White and start watching the Food Network. Yeah.
But there's this guy, and he called them angel eggs instead. He's like a
Oh.
Christian, so
That's a
know.
good Christian, yeah. We always got to
Angel
do
eggs.
that, right? We always got to make it. It validates the sin better that way, right?
I
If
thought
can-
it was good.
If I can find a way to make
Angel
this
eggs.
sound better, right?
Right. Yeah, angel eggs.
Angel eggs. Well,
But
you know,
they're not good for you. You put mayonnaise in that thing.
They put
It's not-
mayonnaise
it's
in
not
them,
good for
and
you.
but oh man, we have this little party store in Toppin to be the only party store we have, and
Yeah.
the mom that owns it with her son, they make deviled eggs, and they do like 4 or 5 trays a day.
Oh, really?
I'm one of the first ones in there.
That is a weird thing to buy at a party
It
store.
is. I thought it was weird too, and I'm sitting there with Amy. I'm like, I got to find something to eat because I don't want to eat a candy
You know
bar.
what I could
was
use
just-
right
what-
now?
Yeah.
Is a party store deviled egg.
Oh man, I don't know what she
Bro.
puts in it, but it's good. It's good. I don't know.
do not know that that's something I would walk into a store for the first time and be like, I'm gonna try your deviled eggs.
I didn't think I would do it either.
Is there a deli there? Because delis have them, right?
This is quasi deli, right? They make pizzas and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're
All
not
right,
they're
okay.
not known for that.
They're producing some food, and they also happen to
Yeah.
have. Okay.
yeah, and so they add that in there.
Hey, so if you're looking for some deviled eggs, check out Toppin' to Be Party
The
Store. What's it
Yeah,
called?
I don't know. It's
Let's get them.
Shell gas station. Yeah,
Wait.
it's a gas station too. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's a gas station, Heavenly Eggs.
Well, you know
Angel
what's
egg-
nice
angel-
is
angel eggs.
Yeah, angel eggs. Yeah,
Gas station angel eggs.
I don't even know what they call them there. They're just eggs. It says on the side of it. I just get them. They're so good though. They put paprika on it.
Sure, but
Just
it's from
covered.
a gas station. There's just some things that feel strange to buy. Again, if they're making,
Yeah,
if there's a deli,
yeah.
and they're making food in that gas station,
It's
I
a
guess
quasi
it's
deli.
okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like a competitor for like a Subway or a Louis or whatever,
okay.
but they make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
a
what
small,
are you gonna do? You're out in Toppin' to Be.
Right, it's a little
It's like
small
shooting
place.
fish in a barrel there.
Right, we don't have a lot
Yep.
going on there, so that's the only thing we
Yeah.
have. I don't know.
Huh.
It's funny because Brad Freilich, he lives over in that area,
Yeah.
and every now and then we run into each other
At the gas station.
at the little gas station in the middle of Toppin to be going. Well, you want to know who's here. I mean, you can see us on the video, but I'll just tell you who's here. That's so weird now because now they can see us before we even
know,
do the
right.
introductions. Yeah.
Hey, everybody, check out Pastor Alex's
Oh,
podcast
yeah.
shirt.
Check this out.
We're building it into our budget that
Yeah,
he
this
would
is-
receive some fun shirts.
This is, Star
What is that?
Wars.
What are those things called?
I was trying to think of the name, and I had
Come
a
on,
a
man.
Biden moment there. I think they're just called the Walker.
Oh, okay. Do you
Yeah.
remember the books they produced? They were like the action books that had like each ship and then the description from the
Oh
ship.
yeah, I have one in my office. I
Of
have
course you do.
I have the Haynes Millennial Falcon book that tells you how to dismantle it. Like you get it for
No
your car.
way.
Yeah, like if you want to know how to work in your car,
Yeah.
right? I have one for the Millennial Falcon in there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
When I was in middle school, I had some buddies that were super into those books, and we would like sit on the swing sets and pretend, and you got to pick a ship.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah,
that was pretty fun.
yeah. Well,
And then you'd have the book and reference what you could do, and you kind of play on the swing sets like that.
I love it. I have never not loved Star Wars.
Yeah.
I go through phases, right? I'll be like, I just got to watch them all and watch them a few more times. And then I'll take some time off, and then I go back to it. It's like when nothing else is really on anymore.
Yeah, I do think it's one of the most like widely accepted forms of nerdism
Yeah.
is Star Wars. But don't you think the age of being a nerd is now cool? Like it does feel like
I hope so.
with like every movie in the world that comes out is like a new superhero movie, and
Yeah.
like nerds are having a really good time right now. It feels like it's a good thing to be a nerd. It's not like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like when I was in high school, we'd make fun of kids and stuff, and it was mean. Where now I think kids wear that. Like, yeah, I'm kind of nerdy.
Yeah. Well,
I
and
really love.
you've got
you know,
adults that are now my age
Yeah.
that were
Yeah.
there when it started, and it's
they're still
becoming
buying
cultural
stuff,
relevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, it's interesting because you can like quote anything from it, and
Yeah.
people know.
Right.
Like You know,
Yeah.
Han Solo. You know, I did the run in 12 parsecs. You know, people say that like all the time.
Yeah.
I heard a politician say that the other day. I was like,
Yeah. Well, and I do think there's a sense of like, hey, you know what? Life's too short. Like, quit making fun of people for stuff that they like.
right.
Like, it's objective. Art is objective. It's not this, like, you can pin it down and say it's good or bad. It's just, you like what you like. It's
Right.
the same thing with music. I used to make fun of people because of their music preferences. And I'm just like, you know what? Not anymore. I'm not
I
doing that.
don't. Well, because now they're all. I mean, it was. I don't know if you remember this, but I'm probably outing myself right now. But you know, Metallica had the was it the Los Angeles Philharmonic
Yeah.
play an entire
Right,
concert.
yeah,
with them.
yeah.
yeah. So things are merging.
Sure.
You know.
But
so-
again, and I just think it's life's just not long enough for you to pick on somebody's
No.
objective or subjective choice on something.
It's okay.
You know, it is.
it's okay.
Just let people like what they like.
Yeah, and it's fine. Don't worry about it.
If you like a Star Wars Hawaiian shirt, you should be able to wear that with pride.
And not feel bad about it. No shame.
That's right.
No shame
Good
in
job,
this.
buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate
doing
it.
great.
I'm making sure I
That's right.
wear this all day. Although my wife made some comments this morning. She said, it looks like you just crawl out of the basement after having a nighter on video games.
You have like Dorito dust and Mountain Dew breath.
I'm like, don't worry about me. All my fingers are orange from Cheetos.
You're just like, I'm just living my best life.
That's
Get
right.
outta
I don't,
here.
I don't care. I have nothing to
good.
prove anymore. What do I need to prove?
You don't need to prove it. Then.
No, not anymore.
Not a thing.
All right. Well, he's your comedic connoisseur of Canadian bacon trivia with an insatiable appetite for puns and positivity. His witty banter and boundless curiosity bring any conversations to life. Always ready to share a hearty laugh. He's the bacon-loving friend that you never knew you needed, Pastor Ted.
Hey, that's a deep cut from the podcast, the Canadian Bacon Love.
It
Good
is.
job.
It
I
is.
like
I
that one.
pulled it out.
Hey, well, speaking of Star Wars, his admiration for the Star Wars movies, series, and lightsaber duels knows no bounds. He said Princess Leia was his first crush, and Yoda made him the man he is today.
Yes,
Pastor
that
Alex.
is true. I mean, come on.
If you need some wisdom,
Talk to Yoda.
talk to Yoda.
Oh,
That's good, man.
Yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, well, we're happy to be here
Yeah.
with our podcast. You'll notice that we don't have Pastor Gary. He is out and about.
I think he's on vacation with kiddos.
Yeah, I think he's in
Grandkids.
warm country right now.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
for him, man.
So, well, he's actually, I think he's going to Mexico.
Oh, is
so,
that right?
Yeah, so I don't know if he's going to be able to make it back across the border. Hopefully he's got,
Why couldn't he get across the border?
well, because they're like locked everything down. You know, you got to
They
go
did?
through, oh, yeah, they got army troops on the border right now. Yeah.
for like immigration.
Yeah, for
Got it.
immigration. So he better have his passport and prove that he's
Yeah.
not, you know, prove that he's an American. I think it would be
That's
bad.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you do that.
So we're gonna take an ID break. We're gonna come back with some icebreaker questions. Listeners have some questions they
fun.
want us to answer, and I thought, well, why not? We'll see what comes up here.
Oh man, these are good.
These are good, and we'll see what what we come up with. We'll be right back.
Gosh.
Attention, agents. Intelligence confirms the More podcast has returned for 2025. This is classified information strictly need to know.
2025.
Prepare for covert conversations, secret revelations, and high-stakes storytelling. Your mission? Stay tuned. Because once this intel goes live, there's no turning back.
Speaking of Mission Impossible, did you see there's a new one coming out
No,
this summer?
fun.
A new. He said it's going to be his last one,
Okay,
and we've heard that now.
Yeah.
What, 5 times,
they're
6
good
times?
though. They're fun.
They are good.
It's good to see in the theater.
And he never changes.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Cruise seems like he's
Yeah.
never aged.
Hey, he was in the Super Bowl.
Was
Did
he?
you see that?
No,
Didn't he introduce it or something? I feel like he did.
I don't remember.
He was something in the Super Bowl. He looked very different.
Did you watch the Lamar video? Him doing his rap? Oh my gosh!
Lamar Jackson?
No, Kendrick
Oh,
Lamar.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Kendrick Lamar. Got
Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, apparently it was an homage to slavery.
it. Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what people are starting to say now, and
Oh,
that
geez.
I couldn't understand a dang word that the guy was saying the whole
No.
time. I'm sitting there and I'm like, somebody please turn on the captions because I cannot understand a single word he's saying.
I don't know any of those songs. I think there was the last one where I was like, I've heard that one on TikTok.
Have you?
Yeah, the last one is like the They Not Like Us song.
Yeah. Well, I didn't.
Sorry,
I-
move this really quick.
I have not heard any of his stuff. So I'm like, I'm open, to see what he comes up with.
Yeah.
And then listening to it, I'm like, What happened to rap music when you could actually dance to it? Like you wanted to move. Like when rap music came on, you'd be like, I need to get up and dance.
Yeah.
Now it's like, what in the world?
Right. And it was like, it takes place on like a street. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was kind of like, usually the sets are like really big and colorful and fireworks. And this was just a
Red, white, and blue.
This was right. This was a literal street.
Yeah. And I think they were
light posts.
Light posts, and I think they were saying that because President Trump was there, that they were trying to make a statement.
He got the biggest cheer of the night, so
he did.
Congrats.
Did you see when he came in?
Yeah,
I mean, it was
nuts.
like they went nuts. Like he was like
you're
a rock
in the
star.
wrong. You're in a football stadium, folks.
Right.
Like chill.
I know, and
it's like going to a NASCAR event and saying we're gonna boo the president.
I know. I was just like, come on, can you seriously? I mean, are we doing this right now? I mean, they were upset because they took the racism
and
things.
racism,
Take that out. They took that out, and then all the players had to decide if they were going to put "Choose Love" on the back of their helmets or nothing.
Okay.
And so that was a big thing for some of the players. Like, you know, why can't we have in racism? I don't know. It was.
I don't know. I don't know.
My Chiefs lost bad.
Your Chiefs.
Yeah.
I just feel like this is going to be a non-productive talk for me if we go down this road.
I mean, my
rooting.
other team is, if it's not the Lions, it's going to be the Chiefs. And the Chiefs got beat bad. I don't know. I just like Mahomes. I like Kelsey. I like the whole, you know.
You like Travis Kelsey?
I do. He's just
why?
He's kind of like a lumberjack kind of football player. I mean, he just goes out there and
There's
hacks
a lot
it.
of talking. A lot of talking.
Well, he might be.
I just got done talking about life's too short to be picking on people for their likes, and now
you're like, why are you shaming me?
It's just the like, it's just that sense of
you like the Eagles. Is that what you're saying?
No, I like the Saquon Barkley story.
Yeah,
I like that.
That was good.
I like Brandon Graham. He's a Michigan guy, so he's on. He's
all right.
He was hurt. He's been in like 10 seasons or something. Like he's an old school Michigan guy, work hard guy. I like that.
Do you like Hurt?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool story.
Yeah.
Like I do think, he was benched in the national championship when he was on Alabama, replaced by Tua Tagovailoa, right? So that was a thing. He then transfers to come on, Ted. It is shoot. This is gonna make me feel like not a football guy. But
you're just like
it was.
Is that one place at
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He transfers to Oklahoma, wins the Heisman Trophy in the national championship, and does the deal and gets drafted to be a system quarterback, a running quarterback.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so he, I'm glad he got one. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't love the Travis Kelsey thing with like. He's done it a really long time now.
Yeah.
Where him and Rob Gronkowski are the same age.
Oh, really?
Isn't that crazy? And Gronk's got better numbers. Like, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Anyways, more nerdy football stuff. But I don't know. I didn't really care either way, but it was fun to not see, a three-peat, I thought.
I was having a hard time not seeing too many sightings of Taylor Swift. I mean, we counted three. We counted three.
Right, there wasn't a lot to celebrate for her.
She did not look good. I mean,
she got booed, apparently.
She did get booed when she came out there. People were booing her.
Boy, that turned on them really fast.
Yeah. So
those Taylor Swift fans, too, they'll
turn on you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So
they'll turn on you before you even know
maybe they don't like football anymore. Now the Swifties don't like football.
Yeah, so now she's got a big decision. Is she going to stay with him or write a song about a breakup? I don't know. We'll see. It might come out. It might be the new Travis Kelsey breakup song coming to you this spring.
Wouldn't that be something? He loses a Super Bowl and she breaks up with him. He'd need to write the song.
He would need to write, but I would, I don't know. I'm wondering, how serious they really were. I mean, was it just something where they've
been together for some time now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. I don't really care. It's such a weird thing to have a lot of investment in, it feels like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Like, there are people who really, really care.
Yeah.
And I don't. And so it's just a little strange.
It is
Either way,
yeah.
Like, all the hate towards her, too, I'm like, just chill out. She's at a football game. Like, who cares? And I get it. Like, I don't want to see her 25 times in a game. I get that part, too.
I get it. I get it.
I just don't, like, I just am a little, like, indifferent about it. But, It does feel like a very strange to have a lot of investment into celebrities you have never met's relationship. That's a very strange
That's true,
thing.
yeah.
But.
Hey, look it up there. We got people texting in on us. My sister is telling me that Party Store Egg, she agrees with you, Ted, that Party Store Egg Stephanie just thinks they're not good.
That's a little suspect, man.
But this is coming from an area. She used to live in West Virginia where they would have bacon that they would sell, like they sell fries and chicken wings and that kind of. So, I mean,
but
really.
I think there's the difference between a deli / like grocery-ish type place where
I get it.
Hey, maybe this place makes really great fried chicken. Where it's just they randomly have some like deviled eggs in that. Like, ugh.
Well,
that's not something I'm buying from a grocery
I've never been
Stephanie,
sick.
I'm with you.
I've never been sick. So
danger. Yep.
Call it to Seth. Seth, thanks for writing in on there.
Yeah, he is.
All right, so here we go. Icebreaker questions. Ted, this one I think because you're the more spiritual of us both, I think you'd probably come up with a better answer than me. If you could have one Bible character as a dinner guest,
okay,
who would it be and why?
Well, as long as it's not Jonah insisting on sushi night.
Right, yeah.
But in seriousness.
Yeah, what would it be?
Oh, man. That's
Who would it be, Ted?
I mean, certainly it's got to be Jesus. If Jesus is
Oh,
off the
come
table,
on.
Come on. Like,
you're going to pick the
that's
one
not, if you're going to go
trump
back
card.
If you're going to go back to history, if you ask any sort of question about could you travel back in time, who do you want to meet? It's Jesus. That's the right answer.
He should be in your heart right now, Ted.
He is. I'm just saying.
He should be with you right now.
If he's off the table, Jesus, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, is
Oh,
off the table.
Take him. Let's take him off the table. He's done. He's not in it.
I'm picking the Apostle Paul.
Okay.
Which I think is an obvious one too, but like,
I think if it was the Apostle Paul, I think you and I would be like, he's a jerk.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think by the time I'm done, I'd be like, I don't want to know him anymore.
I'd be like, I'm ready to go start a church, so I don't have to hang out with you every week. Like,
I mean, the guy would speak and people would fall asleep.
Yeah, right. I think you're right.
I mean, he's a brilliant guy. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for using him to.
He'd take like the first 2 minutes of the conversation to pat you on the back and tell you you're doing a great job, and then go, and by the way,
I just want to bring up this other stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's kind of like one of those guys that is extreme sarcasm.
Yeah,
and it would just tear you apart before you even get to know.
That's awesome.
Oh, hey, Carson. Love you too,
What's
bud.
up, Carson?
Yeah.
Nothing for me. Okay, I guess.
Oh, nothing for Ted. No love for Ted. I think it's in there.
Seth is in. Seth, where are you? Are you in like? Seth's serving in our armed forces, so let's go. Seth.
Oh, is he? Good job, Seth. Thank you
buddy.
for serving.
And I think he's in Germany.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in Europe. So help us out, Seth.
Yeah.
Shout out, buddy.
I don't.
You, man.
I think if I had to pick anybody that I'd want to hang out with, and just get to know, it would be Enoch.
Jesus is off the table. Ooh.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I just want to know what this guy was about. That he was like, he was here and then disappeared.
Yeah.
I would like to be in that situation where that moment was about ready to happen.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And just kind of find out what was really going on.
Good
I
job.
would do that.
Good job.
I don't think they had really good food at that point, so I don't wouldn't be going there to eat like
now you got me
kale and grass and whatever. I wouldn't want to do that. But he said, "Hey, Ted, love you too." Yeah. There you go.
Hey, thanks, Carson.
I wouldn't want that. I don't think I would be able to.
That and that would be so fun because you could then ask like, okay, what about these giants?
Yeah,
did they build those pyramids?
Okay. And did you go talk to these angels? Let's go see. Let's find out all the stuff that we want to know because he's got the inside scoop.
Oh man, that's got my head spinning now.
He was a scribe for God.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Right.
Well, writing all this stuff down. So.
Did the Nephilim have and use giant lasers?
Oh, come on. There's no way those rocks are cut with a blade.
None. There's no way.
No way. Don't even get me started with all those places.
You could wear a sports jacket and like a fake like tobacco pipe now.
Yeah, right.
You'd go on the circuit. I talked to Enoch.
I know
all the.
I know all the secrets.
Of the
I know those
world.
5-ton stones were put at the very top. I know where that was.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right. So here's the next question. What church activity would you win a gold medal in if there were an Olympics for church life?
So here are your options. Incense curling.
Okay, that's a good one.
Did you ever go to a church where they were slinging incense?
I just every now and then to a Catholic church. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pew jumping.
or
you know,
Coffee Brewing Marathon.
yeah.
Speed scripture finding.
Yep. I was never good at that.
I wasn't either.
It was always like an anxiety attack when they're like, "All right, swords ready."
Get them up. And then you're
I'm
like,
sorry, my ADD was kicking in, and I didn't remember the books of the Bible song.
or you get the Bible where the titles are hidden on the top, and you're like trying to find it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would do that. You know, now you can't even do that because kids don't even hardly bring like physical Bibles anymore. They're all digital.
It's true. Yeah, it does kind of make you lazy using your phone.
Come on.
Yeah, I appreciate a good Bible. I know you do too.
Yeah.
So that would be.
Yeah.
You know, what would be fun.
Yeah.
I've been watching. This is a nerdy thing.
Yeah.
I've been watching guys review Bibles on the internet lately.
Like what is
Well,
it?
because I told you about a year ago, I got the calfskin
Yeah. Oh yeah.
ESV. Oh man, it's thin line. It's just a beautiful Bible.
That was
It has European Bible paper, Pastor Alex. It is bougie Bible.
Have you sniffed it?
Oh, it smells
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Do you just sit in your office and go?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I got into that, and I was
Yeah.
like super into it. And then I started watching these reviews, and I'm like, this is so nerdy, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is.
This is wild. But that would be fun. We should grab Bibles from Pastor Alex's office, and we could review them.
I've had a lot of my really good ones ripped off by my
really?
family.
Oh, they take them.
Yeah, like
Come on.
my oldest has got my heirloom ESV, which was calfskin,
Yeah.
and he's got it with him.
They
and I'm
age
like,
really
yeah.
well, right?
Oh, my
That's the
gosh,
thing with the
yeah.
calfskin.
Yeah, and they're so soft.
Oh,
Yeah, and then every now and then you've got to apply oil
really?
to keep them from
I didn't know about that.
getting hard
Okay.
because they will get hard after a while.
And don't they say the flop, right? This is
Right.
so nerdy. Like,
Well,
if you're preaching,
yeah,
you want the Bible to slowly roll.
and the only way you can do
Right.
that is if it's Smith sewn.
Okay, what is
It's a
that?
special sewing technique
Really?
where they put the pages together as opposed to gluing it to a cardboard
Oh,
piece
I
into
see.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why some Bibles don't open up
No
like that. Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Smith sewn.
Smith sewn. There is more that you ever wanted to
That's
know about
wild,
Bibles.
man.
Yeah.
I saw too. There's like these. I'm sure it's just like a family business, but they'll rebound Bibles
Yeah.
for you, and you can get your tattered kind of youth group
Yep.
Bible that saw you through some major life events, and then put a new great looking leather
Cover on it, yeah.
on it.
So you can save all those phone numbers from all the youth group girls that
Yeah,
you're
right.
asking out that you didn't have anything to write
Don't
on.
write those in your Bible.
You put it in the
kids.
concordance, yeah. Way in the back. That's what those blank pages are
That's
for.
right.
So you
That's
can put
right.
addresses and phone numbers
Your
when you're in
prayer
youth group.
list
Yeah.
is like,
oh,
Lord, I
prayer
wanna
list.
Get
Yeah.
married so bad one day, please.
Oh, that's my prayer list. Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Jeez.
I want to say that coughing brewing would be my thing.
Yeah?
I think I do pretty good at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can figure out how to make coffee no matter how
I
it
don't
comes
know
from.
how to do it here at Harbor Light.
With the big things out there?
No, I
Yeah.
don't. I
You
mean,
have to.
I use a Keurig in the green room. But
Well,
I'm
you have to
never
take
out
a course,
there. I would imagine.
and there's a whole
They
there's a
look
whole
like
sheet on how to do it from step one to
Need
step
a
whatever.
Small engineering degree to run
You do
those
that,
things.
yeah. And then there's always the occasional basket leaks, and so you
Yeah,
get
okay.
grounds in there.
Right.
It's the whole thing. So
That's a case of too
Yeah.
many grounds or it wasn't pushed all the way in.
that's right. Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Come on, you
Right.
need to answer this one. Which worship song gets stuck in your
Oh,
head all
boy.
day, Ted? Come on, being the worship pastor of Harbor
Yeah.
Light, what would be that song?
All day.
All day.
Yeah, it depends. Like right now, I'm getting ready for Sunday, so we're doing Goodbye Yesterday, and so
that's an
in my
awesome
head.
song.
It's
I love
super
that song.
fun.
Yeah.
Yep, and I'm like, right, and I'm like, it's fun because I get to play electric guitar on it this weekend, Pastor
Yeah.
Alex. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah,
You get to turn the distortion on. That's what happens.
boy,
Yeah.
it makes 18-year-old Ted really happy, really happy. So I'm
Yeah.
super excited about that. I like that one right now.
You need to put a wedge in front of you just for the sake of
sir.
having something to put your foot on.
Yep, I dig it.
And then you can just put it up there.
That's right.
Yeah.
How
Well,
about you?
it was yesterday. I don't know why, but we heard the shofar being
We
blown
did.
in the basement like 3 times. So it got all of us in the mood for the
Right.
shofar. And then the only song that kept coming to my head was Storm the Forts of Darkness.
See, you guys sing this stuff. I did
Yeah.
not grow up in a Pentecostal church.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you sing it for us right now, Pastor Alex, please?
Storm on the city, storm on the wall. Great is the da 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 da.
So this is a
Storm the
Maranatha.
forts in Zion. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
Maranatha song?
It's a Maranatha song, yeah.
Yeah, we were joking in our staff meeting that you work for a Pentecostal church when you hear a shofar being blown in the basement during staff meetings.
And you can find out
two times.
Yeah, you can find out who all the Baptists are, Reformed Baptists in there, because they're all like, "What is going on?" And I'm like, "It's a shofar."
You clearly
Every Pentecostal knows what a shofar
You
is.
clearly didn't hang out.
You
in the right
you
churches.
apparently did
and
not.
then what the best part was, Mr. Bucci was sitting there.
Oh, blow
and
the trumpets. That's what the song is called. Sorry.
No, you're good. And Steve Bucci is like, he said something about like, and you really don't want me to be singing on worship team, Ted. And then as he said it, the shofar blew, and I was like, or maybe we do, because the Lord
the
is
shofar
speaking right now. He is ushering in a new ministry.
He's
for you.
saying, Mr. Bucci, you need to be singing. The shofar spoke,
Right.
Yeah. And whoever's blowing it actually knew what they were doing. Because
Yeah.
it sounded right.
It sounded really good.
Sounded really good.
Yeah, really good.
When I do it, it sounds like one of those goats, like,
Yeah. Did you ever play brass? Were you ever a brass?
In the Salvation Army, they try to get me to do it quite often, and I just never was really good at it.
Okay.
And
I've heard that it's like the same idea for the shofar.
Yeah.
Pursing your lips.
Well, you know what people are doing? They're putting the mouthpiece for a brass instrument into the shofar.
Oh, okay.
So that makes it easier for them to get the tone.
Yeah.
As opposed to, spending the time to figure out how to wrap your mouth around the hole to make it work.
Okay.
It actually takes a lot.
Sure.
Because when we were in Israel, we saw somebody actually do it the right way. You can tell that guy has not been, he learned how to do it.
Okay.
So,
hey, the other song. I just thought of this one. So do you remember this would be like a big, the Lord used this in a major way in Ted's life song in the past.
This is going to be good.
Do you remember the Vineyard CDs that would come out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
all the time.
Right. They're awesome. I think it was called Passion. It had This Is the Air I Breathe on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the He Is Yahweh song?
Mm-mm.
Dun, 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 He is Yahweh, the Rose of Sharon, He is Yahweh. And then it had...
I don't think I remember that
It
one.
had like... This is so bad, but it was all a bunch of white people singing it. The chorus... It had like an African choir.
Oh,
Yahweh, sha-da-da-da-da, Yahweh. It was
the
awesome, dude.
It was the only African version. The African vineyard.
It's like but it was awesome. And they had, it was like a cool little like earth drum kind of like breakdown thing. So there's all the djembes that were popular, kind of like the early 2000s. That is a great song. He is Yahweh. Vineyard, I think it's the Passion album. So good.
An homage to Toto.
It is straight up like a Phil Collins song. Like it does have that vibe to it. It's great though.
That's the best part. You have Maranatha who did all the messianic stuff.
Uh-huh.
Then you have Vineyard coming out, and they're trying to do all of that. Phil Collins.
Oh boy.
Toto.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so fun. That was my era of like learning to worship. Was like early 2000s Vineyard stuff, and I remember my worship pastor at the Byron Center Vineyard Church in Grand Rapids. It was Vineyard Church, but it was not the cool one. It wasn't the big one.
it was the little one.
I was playing drums in there, and he was like, "Here's a CD. Just learn these songs."
We met in the Top and B gas station.
Deviled eggs or angel eggs.
Sorry.
Church.
Yeah.
So those awesome.
Those are great
fun,
questions.
Man.
I think those are good.
That
I mean,
is
at least
super fun.
People got an idea of where we're at on this. I appreciate the people that sent those questions in.
Yep.
So you kind of get a little bit of what we are behind the scenes.
That's right.
So as we continue on with the podcast, next up on this week's podcast, we might be looking at the topics of scientists find that pigeons are using the New York subway because of climate change. I don't know if this is a change that just happened, but apparently they're doing that. A banana duct tape taped to a white canvas just sold for $120 million at auction. Did you hear about that?
That's not.
It's a real thing.
Come on.
Look up online. It's a $120 million picture.
I was told that I am Mr. Gullible here, and I'm not believing that one.
Well, I'm just telling you. Let's do this. I will bet you one gospel buck. As you look it up online, you will find that is there.
Oh, man.
Here's another one. AI-generated pop star has just sold out virtual seating for its concert. Record companies are seeing a whole new stream of revenue. This is an interesting one. Here's one that you can actually see this video online. Robot dogs are coming to a city near you, and there is no punchline to that. There are the real robot dogs that are running around that these cops are using now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're supposed to be using like tasers and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
You know me.
Yeah, right.
AI robots. I'm all for it. I have no concerns.
No concerns.
No, I think it's great.
Uh-huh.
I've watched all of the Terminator movies.
Uh-huh.
I know what the possibility is. I don't care.
Have you seen the ones in the grocery store now that are checking like the stock?
Yeah.
It's like in
yeah.
Northern Michigan, like grocery
I saw one of those at
it's in D&W.
yeah, D&W was
Yeah.
roaming around. Yeah. I think that's kind of a fun little. I mean, it runs you over though.
Yeah, it does get up in your business.
Yeah, because I was like standing there, we were looking at like bread or something, and it was coming down the aisle, and I'm like, it's gonna stop at some point, right?
Yeah.
And it just kept coming, and I'm like, this is not stopping, and I had to move my cart out of the way for it to continue on. I'm like,
It's got a job to do.
yeah, it's like I'm not messing with you. All right, we're gonna take a 90 break, and we're gonna come back with a conspiracy corner this week. Yeah,
boy.
we got a good one. So we'll be right back after this break.
Yo, throw your hands up. Let's break it down. The More Podcast is the hottest show in town. We got that old school flavor, that funky, fresh vibe, dropping knowledge and laughter, always keeping it live. We spin the stories like a boombox jam, bringing truths and tales to the mic, yes ma'am. So pop your collar, rock your Reeboks too. The More Podcast is back, and it's all for you.
If anybody knows that rap song. It actually is from a rap song. We just changed some of the words. Now that's
Yeah.
real rap.
Who did it? Is it Run DMC? Who was it?
Yeah, I think it is Rum DMC. Yeah, it is not Kendrick Lamar.
No.
That's stuff I would get up and dance to right there. Not the other stuff.
Welcome to Decoded, Conspiracy Corner, where we tackle the weirdest and most head-scratching conspiracy theories floating around the Christian world. That's right. Ever wonder if there's more to the Bible than meets the eye? Or if there are secret messages, hidden meanings, or mysterious symbols woven into the stories we know so well? Get ready to talk about it all right now on Decoded with Pastor Ted and Pastor Alex.
All right, so welcome to Conspiracy Corner with your two favorite hosts, Ted and Alex. Well, today we're diving into a topic that's been raising eyebrows and heart rates for decades, and that is this idea of end times and new world order conspiracies. Ted kind of set the stage for us on this one.
Yeah. So thanks there, Alex. So in many Protestant evangelical circles, end times prophecy is a big deal. So the conspiracy theories around those end times prophecies go hand in hand. The big one is New World Order. Some Christians believe there's a secret. Some Christians believe there's a secret global elite plotting and to persecute Christians to pave the way for the Antichrist. Is this a new one for you, Pastor Alex? Have you?
It is becoming a new one again.
Yeah.
People are.
Do you remember
like,
origin for this? Well, just maybe when's the first time you heard it?
Well, when I was growing up, that was a big deal then.
Right.
It was under like the Bush era, those kind of things. People thought that President Bush was in the Illuminati.
Right.
Like, people write books and talking about it.
I mean,
oh,
no.
here, Conspiracy Corner, Ted.
Yeah, we're into the Bohemian Grove now.
Yeah.
So no, I remember, with the Left Behind series, like that was a big.
Tim LaHaye.
Yeah.
Huge
Like push.
Tim
Kind of
LaHaye is
stuff,
huge. Another one they cite here is Pat Robertson.
Yep.
Started getting
Yeah.
into it.
When
And actually
was
wrote
that?
a book.
Oh, it was in 91.
91. He wrote a book called The New World Order, and he basically says that a government is being established by the Freemason Illuminati with some anti-Semitic images about Jewish bankers in the mix.
Yeah, that's
that
no
was
good.
that was
No
part
good.
of his book. Yeah.
So it's basically an updated order of conspiracy theories, which often portray secular elites as agents of Satan. This kicked into overdrive during the Cold War and the rise of global institutions like the EU and the UN. For evangelicals looking to the Book of Revelation, these global organizations can look suspiciously like beasts or Antichrist support systems.
So to stoke the fires, every crisis or major event tends to spark new rumors. I don't know if you remember, during the COVID-19 pandemic, some Christians and church communities began to spread the idea that vaccines were the mark of the beast and that we were getting microchips
I do remember
implanted.
the microchip thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that one.
I remember
It's
seeing
interesting.
this and like, what? Like they're putting microchips in the solution,
Mm-hmm.
the vaccine that was going into your body,
Yeah.
and that then they were going to track you with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what does this underscore? The issue of distrust. Distrust of government, media, or secular quote unquote experts. Some believers see evidence of satanic plots in everything. It's all about watching for the signs of the end times, which, in their view, makes sense of these conspiracies and makes them plausible.
So on the flip side, Protestant leaders are pushing back. They say that while vigilance is good, we shouldn't let conspiracy theories derail actual faith or overshadow facts. So pastors and theologians have had to clarify that the vaccine is not the mark of the beast. It was a misguided health tool that got it all wrong, excluding those that it actually helped, which is to be determined by current research, which we don't even know their applications of what we put in our bodies.
I think that's it, right? We're going to say, hey, look, this can be good, neither good nor bad. We can be neutral on things at times, and let's just let kind of some time happen and some science folks to get a hold of this stuff and see where they will take us.
Right, because we can't deny the fact that there were people that actually got whatever it was they were given, and it actually helped them.
Yep.
As opposed to people that got sick from it or whatever.
Right, and that can be also true too, right? The flip side of there were people who got sick from it too. We just had the government saying if you do it, you will not get COVID. Right. And it's 100% effective. And you're like, well, that's not true either.
You can't.
So let's just simmer down both sides.
Well, that's what they're trying to do with the flu vaccine right now. I mean, how many commercials we get of that anyways?
Yep. So we see high-profile evangelical leaders like Tim LaHaye using these end times themes in Left Behind. But we've also seen folks like Ed Stetzer, an American author, pastor, and Christian missiologist, dean of professor of leadership and Christianity Today at Talbot of School of Theology and Biola.
He's got a big resume.
He does. Those are two big hitters there. Who serves as distinguished visiting scholar of Wycliffe Hall at Oxford University. He reminded believers to repent of spreading conspiracy theories that have no biblical or factual basis. That is a big, big statement there.
That is. I mean,
if you're spreading misinformation and you find out that you've spread misinformation, that is worth asking forgiveness for. Humility.
Yeah. Isn't it kind of like borderline gossip?
I think it's maybe even beyond that.
Yeah. Because you're getting people all worked up into thinking that something is moving. I don't know. We used to do the end times rapture ready news. And some of the things that we would bring on there, I was like, it's like, why are we talking about this? Or why do we look at one little microcosm of something that shifted or changed, and then all of a sudden it's going to be the precursor?
Yeah, and I just think there's an aspect of humility within the life of a Christian that we're missing in today's culture. And so being able to go, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I missed, right? I missed it. And again, I think for us as Christians who I will admit, like, I tend to be a little more skeptical of the mainline narrative now. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are since 2020 and COVID and stuff. But there is some validation that's kind of come with like, maybe it wasn't the sign of the beast, but also it wasn't what the government was telling us. Right. And so I do think being able to kind of hold things highly, both those things highly of going, is it everything they're telling you? And isn't everything, your uncle in the basement who's wearing a tinfoil hat is also not true.
He's trying to get you to buy into it.
Right. But I do think the aspect of humility and admitting when you're wrong is something Christians need to be first in line to do.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
because we don't see it anywhere else. Pride is not the life of the Christian.
I think that we need to stop. I mean, okay, I don't know if you'd agree with this or not, but I take this approach sometimes. I think ignorance is bliss on this subject for the sheer fact is that you're going to constantly be looking under every rock, every shadow.
Yeah,
and you spend your entire Christian journey doing that to the point where you become just a skeptic. You become a lifelong skeptic with no joy in your life, and I think it does eventually erode at love, because eventually become so skeptical that you can't really fully love anything anymore in the world, because everything is a possible, trigger or spark or whatever it may be for something else. So, I get it. There's going to be the beast is going to come on the scene, the Antichrist is going to come on the scene. I get it. I read Revelation 2.
It's all real, right?
It's all real.
It is all real. Yeah.
But the one that cracks me up is people that drink Monster drinks. It's like it's the mark of the beast on there with the 3 lines for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, good grief. Everything you look at it becomes that, in the world to the point where it's just
if you want to find it, you'll
if you
find
want
it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can make it up.
You
know,
could.
if you stare at something long enough, you could make it become whatever you want
really
it to be.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really could.
I think it's
So I do think Christians got to be careful because it does feel like, again, I hold to some of these things, right?
yeah. I mean, I do.
Like aliens built
Oh,
the pyramids, right? Like,
Don't say that out loud.
but the just being in a place of going, what's humility? What does it look like to be first in line to say when you're wrong? That's like we learned that in kindergarten, and we need to hold that up high as adults too.
Right, and I think if you spend your life doing that, I think it's great when we talk about the subject of Revelation. It gets us excited about hope.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the early church, they weren't spending their entire lives looking for those moments. All they did was do the thing that Jesus said in Matthew 28, preach the gospel and bring people to him.
Yep, taking care of the orphan and the widow.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you spend your time doing that, you're going to not have time to really do a lot of things. It's great when you have time to read it because it's fun to read it.
Yeah.
It's fun to look into it.
Sure.
But at the same time, you waste so much time looking at that stuff.
Maybe a good rule of as much as I'm going to read Genesis 6 and about the Nephilim, right?
Yeah.
I should spend as much time reading the Sermon on the Mount.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and trying to figure out how you put it in practice. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That'd be a good thing.
I think that's a very
The
good.
Nephilim are fun and important.
They are fun and important, but come on. Jesus
Yeah.
didn't say in Matthew 28, do all this and then talk about the Nephilim and everything else.
And the global cabal.
Yeah. So bottom line is I think we just call people to have some discernment.
Yeah.
It is a lesson in discernment because,
Yeah.
You should be spiritually awake, but jumping at every shadow and claiming
Is
that
Jesus
it's something.
coming back? Yes.
Yes,
Is
he
there
is.
going to be an Antichrist? Yes. Does the Bible speak to those things? Yes. But,
Mhm.
Right. What is the focus of your life?
Right.
Is it fear or is it preparation and seeking to make disciples?
Well, how can you not have fear, right?
Absolutely.
If you think that your government's coming after you
Yep.
in a vaccine or anything else, you're not living in a mind that is,
Right.
set on the foundation of Christ being your rock. You're like worried about when the wind blows the wrong way.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, so, we just want you to kind of think about this conspiracy theory a little bit. I mean, like I said, we are not admitting that we don't believe or do believe any of this stuff. We're just saying that it's there and it's becoming more and more prevalent, especially in this current political season.
Yep.
So just, take note, but
Bible in hand, folks.
Bible in hand,
Yep.
and read the things that matter most, which is your salvation, salvation of your family, and the eternal hope that we have.
Yes.
That's all you
Amen.
need to worry about.
Amen.
Yep. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we've got something really cool.
Yeah,
if you
we
look
get
to my
to
left
spin
over
this
here,
thing.
we got to spin the
First time.
Wilson Insurance Wheel of Destiny
That's right.
and see if somebody wins. No, I can't reach it. These
Ooh,
awesome
man.
Detroit Lions socks. I think these are. I think Pastor Gary said they're signed somewhere. I don't see it. I don't see them signed anywhere. Well, anyways,
He signed them.
he
Pastor
signed them.
Gary
Pastor
did.
Gary, yeah, they're signature socks from Pastor Gary's own collection. And you're gonna get a pair of these socks right here. So we will be right back after this ID break.
Well, howdy, folks. Gather round. I got some news that'll sure astound. The more podcasts are raising a ruckus. Better tune in so you don't miss the fun. They're spinning tales sweet as honey on a biscuit. Tossing jokes quicker than a frog can ribbit. So grab your boots, your hat, and your kin. Because the more podcasts is where the fun begins.
All right, so here we are
Spinning
with
this wheel.
Spin the Wheel of Wilson Insurance.
Yeah. Do you remember the
The Wheel of
question from
Destiny.
last week?
No, I don't.
This is just a lot of answers given.
Have been put
and
together.
This isn't just 1 week.
This is not 1 week. And
Got
the
it.
thing is, I can't remember because Pastor Gary was the one that gave the question.
Right.
And of course, because I am so studious, I have not written it down.
So
I don't
you
know.
get your name on this board based on whether or not you've answered a question in the last couple weeks.
Correctly, yeah.
And we're trying to win some socks.
Right.
Correctly, yep. That is
And
important.
We
that
put
you
your
get
name
the-
on here, and then
It
we
isn't-
spin the wheel.
Right. You don't get a participation
There's
trophy
nothing
on
like
this.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Ted, you get the
I'm
honors of
spinning,
spinning it.
okay.
Yeah.
All right,
here we go. Wheel of Destiny. Gonna see what we got here.
That's a good spin.
It is a really good spin. And do we have
Mary.
Mary wins the Detroit Lions socks. She was just
Let's
here.
go.
She was just
She
here.
was, yeah.
She could have just picked these up before she left.
All right. Well, Mary.
So, Mary, you win. See, this is all
Some
fair, you
great
guys.
looking socks.
This is all fair. We have not done anything. There's no weights in the wheel, nothing. And Mary's name is not up there 50 times.
No weights. Yeah,
There's no weights. Mary won the
Congrats,
Detroit
Mary.
Lions. Congrats
Those were
on
some nice
that.
socks.
Yeah, and I don't have a question this week because
No.
we spun the wheel.
Right.
So next week we'll have a question that you can be a part of it. And if you
Yeah.
want to be a part of it, all you have to do is send it to harborlightbibletrivia@gmail.com, harborlightbibletrivia@gmail.com, all lowercase, and let us know what you think the answer is. And we will put your name up here on the wheel.
That's right.
We do have some people that constantly are on here because they're always answering the questions.
That's
Mary's
right.
one of them, Alan, Brian, Theo.
Guys, these are good presents
Yeah,
for
Leslie's
yourselves.
on there. Yeah.
Or if you wanted to regift, we would be okay about that too.
I wouldn't mind
I
at
wouldn't.
all.
I wouldn't. I just think that if you're like, I'm not going to answer because I don't need socks.
Right.
Well, don't do that.
Yeah, because I mean,
Answer because you want to give the socks away.
this is what we
Something.
have for this time. But see, Pastor Gary has got a plethora of gifts.
Right.
This is I think he bought these before the Lions lost.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Well, and
this
we've
is during
had
the winning season.
non-Lions gifts. Like,
Oh, we have we
you know.
definitely have non-Lion gifts. But this is one that I bought just before they lost.
sure,
So these still have the actual sweat and smell of the team
of a winner.
of a winner on them. Yeah,
That's
that,
right.
that Mary now is going to get.
Right.
And so congratulations to Mary. We're going to take an ID break, come back, and we're going to get into Bible talk, talking about what happened this last weekend.
That's
And
great.
yeah, we'll be right back.
More podcast, where good news is all we serve. And there ain't nothing else on the menu. Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Who comes up with these commercials?
For real, man.
I think we need to do some new ones now.
Well,
I get tired of them over.
that's great.
Yeah,
Those
you
are
know.
good. Well, hey, we just started our 2-week series this last weekend here at Harbor Light. That's called Until They're Home. Pastor Alex is walking us through this heartfelt guide for parents confronting the heartbreak of watching a child drift from the faith. Drawing from Luke 15's prodigal son story, it offers biblical insight, practical wisdom, and unwaveringly hope. Through the stories and counsel, parents will find spiritual resilience to wait and welcome their prodigals back. Pastor Alex, I got to tell you, man, I think this was such a big deal at our church this last weekend.
I'm beginning to get that. You know,
Yeah.
after talking with some families and hearing.
It was not a light subject.
It was not. And I was worried about going into it that, oh my gosh, we had a great worship set and things were moving in a good direction. And I thought, man, here comes the lead balloon,
Well,
you know.
but I think there's, even if you don't have I was thinking about this even if you don't have a kid,
Mm-hmm.
let alone a kid who's walked away from the faith, this is information that we all know someone who has.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so just this last week, I was in chapel at the school and I heard, somebody say, I walk by all the pictures of graduates,
Yeah.
right, and the halls. And there are some who are just sold out, walking with the Lord, love Jesus. And there's some who you just don't know, or maybe they're far from the Lord.
Yeah.
And so this is nothing that you will not experience. This is certainly something that's going to carry throughout the life of a believer. And so, thank you for speaking on it.
No, thank you, yeah.
And we definitely want to make people aware. You just finished this book. This
Yeah.
is based on a book that you wrote.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? You wrote this book. Why and when and when's it come out? And
It should be coming out this spring.
Okay.
It was a book that just kind of was compiled thoughts and stories over 25 years of
Yeah.
people that I had spoken to that were going through this same situation of having a child walk away from the faith. And it was just shocking to me that most of the people I talked to were not people that had like this double life. Like, they were one thing in church and the next thing. And these were people that were Christians that loved the Lord, loved telling their children about Christ, loved being a part of the church. And then all of a sudden, at some point, when they start moving into their teenage years, they decided they're going to walk away from the faith. And some of them went away for good and some of them have come back. But it was just a tough story to hear from these parents because a lot of them are left with, I don't know why. I have no idea why this happened. It's not like, we were really hypocritical at home and we'd be like, we're going to talk about Jesus outside, but then behind closed doors, we're going to be doing all this stuff. These are good, faithful Christians. And so that's the hard part of this whole thing. And so as I started praying about it, it just seemed like this is a good year for me. This is my year of Jubilee when God is, calling me to do a lot of really interesting things. And so one of the things was, why don't you get this book done already? Why don't you write it? And so I decided I'm going to sit down and start writing the book. And then all these people started coming back to my mind, started helping me. It started reminding me of all those conversations.
Yeah.
And I felt really emotionally connected. And some of the things that started happening was just their stories were almost like they were happening right then and there.
Right.
Holy Spirit started bringing it back to my memory. And then the other thing is that I was trying to figure out, like, how do I approach this with Scripture? How do I approach this as a pastor to deal with it? And so I kept looking through the Bible, looking for whatever interesting stories about it. And it just kept taking me back to the prodigal son story in Luke 15. And I was like, this story has been talked about so much, like, at least in recent years. And I'm like, come on, there's got to be something else that I can look at. Yeah. Every time I kept trying to look around, I kept realizing that this is the story that's speaking to the heart of these parents that they're going through this situation. And every aspect of that story, even though, it really talks about the father's heart towards people that walk away from him, I started noticing that these are stories, this story really is speaking to those parents that are dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
It was mirrored in that.
Sure.
So it became really sort of the focus and crux of everything that I started putting together in the book. Now, the book is, it's not a big book. It's only like 87 pages long.
Okay.
About 40,000 words. Not that big, but in it, I try to give parents hope in it. It's not necessarily like a how-to to get your kid back.
Okay.
It's how the parents begin to start relating to the fact of my kids walked away. What do I do with my heart?
Yeah.
How do I deal with the meantime? How do I deal with my prodigal being gone and I have to now live with the aftermath? Yeah. So that's really what it's geared for. It does give you some advice on what to do when they come home.
Yeah.
But mainly it's about speaking to the heart of the parents. And because I think that for a long time, there's been a lot of hidden conversations about this in church.
Yeah.
Because people are ashamed.
Sure.
They're ashamed that this happened to them. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I was thinking is, as a dad of teenagers now, the biggest hope that I have for my kids is that they would know and love Jesus. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest hope. Yeah. And so to have that hope dashed, I would imagine would put me in a pretty tough emotional state. Yeah. And so can you talk about that with your experience of counseling parents while they're in the midst of seeing, praying for their prodigal to come home? What are the experiences of those parents? What are they feeling? What are they sensing? And maybe what is some hope that we're giving to them in this time?
Yeah. Well, I think that what they're experiencing, a lot of it is this idea of guilt. I think guilt is one of the biggest tools the devil uses against parents in this situation because we feel like we haven't done enough, right? We've followed everything pastor says. We followed everything that we've learned growing up in the church ourselves, and now I have a child that is not living for the Lord. So the guilt is really encompassed in this idea of what did I do wrong? Could I have done more devotions? Could I have, not watched, things that maybe were on the line or whatever it may be? Was it something that we did? We didn't go to enough church services, or we didn't read the Bible and family enough. We didn't pray together around the table. And for me, those are all things the devil uses to try to bring that parent down, the parents that are going through a prodigal situation, because it's not the truth.
Right.
The truth is that all these kids, regardless of what you've implanted in their life, they still have to make the choice for Jesus. Yep. So you've done your part. They've walked away, and for their own reasons, whether they may be influenced by lies of the enemy or whatever they have basically put in their mind as to why they're walking away. That's regardless of. But the parent themselves, they've done everything they possibly can do. And so I talked about it on Sunday. You have to stop living in this mindset of shame. You have to stop living in that. But you also have to be honest about it, too. You have to be honest about the relationship. I mean, did you, at any point, say something you should have said? Sure. Or maybe you were hypocritical at some point. Or maybe you did establish something in your home that probably wasn't the best. You have to own up for that. Yep. Deal with it and let God work in your heart, because the grace that God has given to us to live out our faith is the same grace He's given to them. But you have to accept it too, as you're trying to so desperately for them to accept the grace that God has for them. So it's something that you have to take ownership of. And so one of the things that I mentioned on Sunday was that we have to stop being that way in the church. We have to stop being dishonest about our situation and quit trying to live an isolated Christian experience because you don't want anybody to know your pain, or you don't want anybody to know the failure, because you think you've let down the kingdom of God by what you're doing. Yeah. that's not the truth. I mean, it happens. It's apparently happening quite a bit because 70% of kids that are in high school walk away from the faith at some point.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal, and we're not talking about families that have like drug addicts in their household, alcoholics. We're talking about people that have gone through a wonderful experience of God in their own life and have shared it with their kids, and still that child decides to walk away.
Yeah.
So the hope I give to parents is, first, you need to get away from guilt, and the best way to do that is to allow you to start having a network of support. Galatians chapter 6, verse 22 talks about this fact that we have to be surrounded by people that will carry our burden with us. And one of the big things that happens within the community is that we don't ever use that tool. It's one of the underutilized tools of church, is that we don't seek after support from other people. And a lot of it is because we don't want them to get into what we're dealing with. And you have to stop doing that. It's what the devil wants. The devil wants you to isolate yourself to the point where you begin to imprison yourself in your own pain.
Yeah.
To the point where it starts gnawing at your own faith journey, and you're not living out to the fullness of what God's called you to.
Right. So I wanted to make sure I got the name of the book right. So when I was doing youth ministry, the Barna Research Group was kind of a popular resource at that point. They wrote that book, Church Less.
Yeah.
Remember the Church Less book?
I read that,
They lots of statistics on kids leaving the church. They gave some reasoning for that. I'm definitely interested to hear, why do you think it is that number is so high?
I think it comes down to basically three things that I've seen over and over again. And these are going to seem like, duh, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But I don't think we understand the ramifications of even just subtleties in these things. And I think the first one that is big for me is that we do live in a Christian society that does seem to allow hypocrisy to creep in the home. Okay. So what I mean by that is, you may be going to church and stuff with your kids, but then we have these gray areas as parents where we're like, I have liberties. There's things that I can do that my kids can't do, but I'm an adult and they're not. And so what we do is we kind of live in this mindset that that's not a big deal. The problem is that whatever we do as a parent is immediately picked up as the gospel truth by our children, and it's validated in their heart by how we do it. And so if you say this doesn't really affect, this is more about me than it is them, I don't think it's going to affect them at all, you want to think twice about it, because just like anything else we see in Scripture, where even the discipleship relationship that God calls us to is that you mirror my activity, you mirror what I do. You watch me and do that.
Yeah.
That's what Paul kept telling everybody.
Yeah.
And we don't do that sometimes in our parenting. We say, well, I don't want you to watch rated R movies, but I'm going to watch them.
Sure.
I don't want you to spend all that time on Netflix, but I'm going to do that. But you should read your Bible, or you should be playing or doing that. So we start creating these double standards, and it could be from anything really big to really small.
Yeah.
But we have to take those into inventory and begin to allow Holy Spirit to say, listen, in your situation, this is not good because your kids are picking up on this.
Okay.
And it's a sensitivity that happens there. Another one is this idea of being Bible-based in your home. If the only time you pick up your Bible and the only time you pick up devotional time in your home is when you are by yourself or you're at church, you're missing the point.
Yeah.
Because if you go back to Deuteronomy chapter 6, one of the things that God tells the Israelites, he says, live out the Shema, live out my lifestyle, not just in spiritual moments, but live it out in everyday life.
Right.
And he even says in there, when you get up, when you eat, when you go out, to play, to do whatever you're doing, find ways to weave God into those situations. Now, it doesn't mean to become hyper spiritual about everything, but allowing your kids to see this personality, this part of you that allows God to be a part of every aspect of who you are. I love it when parents say, like when they're having a good maybe bill week, they've been paying all their bills, things are going good, they got food in the fridge. And I've heard parents say, we just kind of like said, man, we just need to bless the Lord. God really gave us the finances. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you start finding those moments to do that, you don't want to compartmentalize your faith in such a way to where your kids never see your vulnerability and your worship of who God is in your life. So,
yeah, don't you think there's this sweet spot where you come to of realizing this is more natural than it is forced when I'm talking about my faith, or I try to do a little devotional at the dining room table, that kind of thing. I think that's super good and positive, and parents should do that. But I do think there's something about in the car to be able to say, hey, how was your day? Or did you see God at work in your
Yeah.
life today? And again, it's hard to explain, but it does feel like there are times where that can feel forced
Oh yeah.
and not natural. And then there are times where it just, or maybe you've come to a place now where it does feel a little more natural in your personhood to do it.
Yeah.
So my encouragement would be you got to start someplace. So just do it and try. And, the Lord's going to give you more grace and mercy, and he's
Right.
going to provide for you as you keep continuing to do it. Are there other ways that you think that just help us kind of become a little more natural in those day-to-day showing the Lord to our kids?
Well, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, your worship of God is conversational. That's what
Okay.
Deuteronomy 6 is about.
Okay.
It's a conversational relationship with God that he somehow is a part of every aspect, even though maybe his name is not invoked at some point.
Yeah.
But they know it's a part of it. They know that God is not relegated to the crisis. He's not relegated to the moments when all hell breaks loose and you don't know what to do next. God's a part of my celebration. He's a part of my everyday life. He's a part of the monotony of life.
Yeah.
And you have to find ways to make sure that's expressed to your kids in those situations, or at least show them that it's going on in your life.
Yeah.
If you're like one of those people, I love it when people say, I'm going to really commit to my devotional life. And so what they'll do is they'll make it like a household rule.
Okay.
So everybody's got to do devotionals
right.
now. Everybody's got to be doing devotional time. You go to your room, do a devotion. I'll do it. No, that to me gets back to this idea of religion. It's a religiosity approach to what should be very natural. And, if you look at how Jesus responded to his disciples, most of his most weighty conversations happened in everyday conversations.
Sure.
Walking on the road. The road to Emmaus, when he's just hanging out with these guys, it didn't come up, right away. They were having a conversation about a lot of things. And then the revelation happened. There's a lot of those kind of situations where Jesus was very, very, I would say, organic in the conversation about life and what faith is. I think your kids want to see that kind of consistency, but they want to see an honesty in that relationship as well.
Yeah.
If you're trying to portray, a lifestyle that seems holier than thou, and your kids have seen you crack and say things or do things, they can smell hypocrisy a mile away.
Yeah.
You can't get around it. I don't care how much you try to backtrack or try to cover it up. Your kids see it at 4 and they see it at teenage years.
Yeah.
And so the problem is that I believe that when we have kids get to the high school age, really the enemy's excuses don't have to be really strong. Right. Because the excuses he gives them allow them to validate this move forward, because really what did I see that they were holding on to? Sure. Were they just holding on to this church they were hanging out with? Yeah. Were they just holding on to this quasi-Christian look just so they can, say that they're better than maybe the next door neighbor? Sure. And the kids, they can read that and they see that if that's what it's all about, then it's not anything that I need to be a part of. Right. That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that becomes a problem. And I think parents, we're going to talk about this Sunday about how do we fight for our teen, how we fight for our teens. Because I think there are some basic approaches, but I think we lose, as parents, we lose the fight because we look for something beyond the basic. Okay. The basic is where it's at. Okay. Jesus, when he says he's praying and he says, pray this prayer, he talks about the most basic attributes of the Christian experience. It doesn't say, spend 50 hours in fasting. He says, pray every day that the Lord give you the bread you need to make it that day. Pray that the God's, going to be working through the details in your life that day. And that's all we really need to be focused on. It's the basic stuff. Yeah. And allow God to begin to speak through that situation. And so parents, I think sometimes we get all these self-help books, and of course this is one of them. We get all these self-help books about different things about what we can do as a parent. Get back to the basics. Just live out your faith in a real, organic way. Yep. And let your kids see you fail. Right. Let them see you repent. Yes. Let them see you honor God in worship. Let them see you go through a crisis and come out and say, you know what? I either did that wrong or I did that right. Right. God was honored or God wasn't honored. And you have those conversations with them.
Yeah. Yeah. The biggest lie of hypocrisy is that there will be people who don't do it. Mm-hmm. And I think you just said it, when that comes up, be the first to admit it.
Yeah.
right? As
Yeah.
a Christian, be the first to admit it. You know, I've been living out of integrity, or I have had things. I've said one thing and done another, and
Yep.
because it will happen.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
will. You are in need of grace just as anybody else is, and so speaking. The difference, I think, is being able to speak the truth of, I fell short.
Yeah.
I apologize. I want to do better.
Yeah.
Moving forward, because that's what kids do need to see that.
Yeah.
So what if. So that was kind of the before the kids leave. What about if they've left, for those folks who do have prodigals out there and maybe they start coming back,
Yeah.
to faith, or they're dipping their toe back in. Maybe there's been strained relationship within the family.
Yeah.
And so maybe they're just coming around for family dinner once in a while. What are the things that maybe we should avoid?
Yeah, I think some of the things we need to avoid, because really, if you look at the prodigal son story in Luke 15, one of the major focuses that God relates to us through that is that celebration comes before our talking to them about all the problems.
That's right. The father did not walk out and go, and now that you're back,
let's talk about the rules. There was
here's the curfew when you're home.
And that seems to be sort of like the natural thing for us to do, right?
Sure.
Because if we've been hurt as parents because of a prodigal conversation, a prodigal story, a prodigal life with our kids,
that's really good, man.
we tend to want to go through that and talk to them about it. We want to have some sort of debriefing about it, about our anguish and pain. And that is never afforded to us in the story. What's afforded to us is that we have to celebrate first in grace. And we assume, and I mentioned this on Sunday, we assume that because of God's character and the rest of the scripture, I think there was probably a conversation that would have happened after the fact.
Sure.
Like, hey, these are the boundaries we're going to work
right.
in. Because, I mean,
that's part of love.
It's part of love.
Yeah.
There's going to be things that are happening that you've been a part of that we need to work through. And I can't let it in my house, especially if it's like dealing with addictions or toxic relationships or whatever it may be. But the first part is the love thing. And I think parents accepting those children back have to somehow work that out in their heart. They have to begin to start working the process. And that's one of the things I said with parents on Sunday. I said, you need to work those things out. You need to let God's grace work in you as much as you expect it to be working in your child.
Yeah.
To get rid of that pain, get rid of those hurts, or to at least be in the process of working through it just like they are working through theirs. And then acknowledging the fact that this conversation is going to be full of tension. There's going to be moments where you're going to have a lot of tension in the house because you still have things you're working through.
Yeah.
They still have things to work through. But really, the only thing that keeps you together is the grace that God is establishing in that relationship. So find other things to do.
Yeah.
Find other ways to begin to dabble in this relationship, like working together in a soup kitchen or working at a thrift store or doing something in ministry so where you both can see the grace of God extended from you into other people's lives, and it helps you heal, but it takes away the devil's ability to have you just super focus on the problem.
Okay.
Which is what would happen if you were in a closed room by yourselves and those thoughts are there.
Right.
The feelings are there. You can feel it. And so, I have said to parents before, hey, celebrate what God's done, because really what you're celebrating is God's grace working in this situation, God's redemption. You had nothing to do with it. God brought them back. He's also working on your heart. Just celebrate that time together. And that's what we see in the Father. He celebrated. He got the fattest calf, and he did all this stuff. He was all about the redemption. He wasn't about the
really
other
good,
issues.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. The celebrate first thing. And I think, thinking of, we often say redemption is a redemption process.
Yeah.
So celebrate the fact that we've started the process. Is it finished? No. But in the end, it never is. We're always being redeemed back to our Father, right? So
yeah, and I think you see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that if Jesus could have finished the story, I think that's what you'd have seen.
Okay.
I think you'd have seen the Father sitting down and saying, listen, we've got to work through this.
Sure.
Because you walked away telling me I'm dead.
Yeah, right.
And you spent all your money.
Give me my inheritance.
Right. So you have nothing left.
Right.
You gave it all away. So your brother's the one that owns everything. So we need to talk about that aspect. I mean, there's so many things a part of this story.
Yeah. That's really good, man. One of the things that I'm so appreciative that you said Sunday, was just encouraging parents who are going through it to not hide in their struggle.
Yeah.
To really seek out some counsel from other people. Why do you think it's hard for us to do that? as a parent who maybe has a prodigal? And can you just speak more towards why we need to?
I think it's something that we've created in the church. It's a problem we've created. The problem is that we talk about this idea of sanctification, holiness, all these things that are attributes of people growing in the faith, to the point where we've said, you can't make mistakes anymore.
Right.
You can't have problems.
Yeah.
You've got to be perfect, because the world, when you are not perfect, you make God look bad. And God's never said that.
Right.
God has never said to the church, when you make a mistake, you make me look bad, and I don't want you on my team because I want only people that are perfect. God's never said that. And so the problem is that in the church, though, we've created that narrative and we've created that conversation to where when somebody is going through this, especially if they're a Christian family and they have kids that are walking away from the faith, what we've created now is an environment where it's not safe anymore to say, hey, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
My kids have walked away from the faith. I don't know why.
Right.
We don't know what we did wrong. I don't think we did anything wrong.
Sure.
And we don't want to share that with somebody else, because what we imagine is, and what usually happens is we get either looks of condemnation, fingers pointed at us, or people questioning really our sincerity for the kingdom.
Yeah.
And so when those things are brought into the light, those are scary things for people in the church.
Yeah.
They don't want to be labeled with a scarlet letter saying, you screwed up.
You failed your kid.
You failed your kid, and how dare you? And so if you're that way with your children, then obviously your faith is in question too. And that was never the intention.
Sure.
I don't think God would have ever, if he could come down and speak to us audibly in a service, I've never condoned that. That is not the way I want people to deal with it. But that's the way the church has created this environment. And the unfortunate thing is that, so we have all these people that are living in their own pain, isolated themselves because they don't want anybody to know. And if they bring it out, if they bring it up ever, they're worried that they're going to get, shelved or put to the side, or they're not going to be a part of a ministry anymore, or they're not going to be able to be active in community because what their kids are doing.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, don't you think? I mean, I'm super thankful for it seems like today we're in a season of authenticity within the church.
Yeah.
That I do think that there's more people who are awake to the fact that, guess what? Your pastor's kids aren't perfect, or your deacon or whatever, right? Like there are these kind of people that we've not necessarily put on pedestals at times, and they're people.
Yeah.
And stuff happens to them. So I think there is I would hope there is, maybe I'm more optimistic than I should be, a greater willingness to listen to people in their pain and struggle, especially around kids who've walked away, adult children who've walked away from the faith. And I just think that, where, the truth will set you free, right?
Yeah.
And being able to talk to somebody who's maybe been down the road, or just somebody who's just going to go, look, I love you and I'm going to pray with you. That's just such an important thing in the life of a Christian. And I hope that we can create more and more space for people to share that, because I think you hit the nail on the head of, man, do not hide in the shadows with this. This is not a cross you need to bear by yourself.
I think one of the best things that God has done, the Holy Spirit has done with the church recently, is that the prodigals are becoming leadership in the church. And I think because we are becoming, because I was a prodigal, we all have become leaders in the church, and so we understand the pain.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way God does some of his best work, is if, he even talks about himself, I understand what you've gone through because I've been on the cross. I've gone through all this stuff. And when we have people that are stepping up into leadership that now understand the prodigal plight, understand what they've done to their parents, understand what they've done to themselves, the conversations are easier to have now, as opposed to the generation that felt like this is never possible.
Right.
And so we had a whole, ignorance is bliss generation, well, a few generations, where it's impossible that this can even happen. And, the devil would just shore up that argument, right? Like, there's no way the pastor's kids would act that way. There's no way that person would have these problems. So it's not even something we want to talk about. And now all of a sudden we have prodigals that are in leadership, and they're like, listen, this happened.
Yeah, we got to talk
This is
about
real.
it. Yep.
Yeah. And, parents are going through it. And I did this, as a kid, or now I've seen it. And so the stuff that's been happening all along, I mean, this percentage I think are higher because of the influence.
Sure.
But I think that this stuff has been happening all along. Now it's being able to be talked about, and now we're seeing it. And it's too bad it's taken this long, because the percentages are now so high. It's 70% walking away from the faith. It is hard to even imagine that's even possible, but it is. We have to now sort of really begin to start fighting against it. We got to find a way to regain ground that we've given up, that the devil's been using for a long time.
Yeah, it's really good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, Pastor Alex, it was an amazing sermon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And
Appreciate
I
it.
think you certainly listened to Holy Spirit and were used, and it seemed to me that the room was really, really receptive to what was going on, and so that's super exciting.
Yeah.
Can you give us 2 minutes where are we headed this Sunday?
Yeah, we're going to actually give parents some more hope about what to do when your kids are moving in that direction.
Yeah.
And what are the reasons why it's happening in your home? Maybe these may not be specifically your situation, but these are some things that, like we talked about today. These are some things that are happening in our homes that we need to step back and say, to what grade and what level am I allowing this to happen to where it's causing some questions? Because really what the devil, all he needs is to just get a little bit of doubt, right, into their heart, and then kind of quickly come in with something else that can fill the void to get people start moving the wrong direction. And so that's what he's doing with our children. He's bringing these kind of influences into our life by creating just a little doubt with our parents being hypocritical, or the church being hypocritical, or leadership, or whatever it may be. I mean, there's no conspiracy theory here why the internet is so full of pastors that have fell from the pulpit. The main reason is to say, the evil one to say, hey, look it. See?
Right.
Here's another one.
Right.
He's down again. So really, is it really that great of a thing?
Yeah.
Right. So you keep doing that, and then you do it with your families, right? Then you start doing it with your parents, and you start doing it with, uncles and aunts and grandparents and all these people. Eventually, the child's like,
yeah, sure.
What is this thing about?
Right.
They don't believe in this holy book that's supposed to be changing lives because they themselves are not doing it. So anyways, we're going to get into that. We're going to dig into some of the ideas just for parents. And it is not it's not in my book because my book is primarily about hope. But I really felt Holy Spirit after I got done with Sunday sermon, like you need to go this direction.
Good,
so,
man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for it, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for being obedient and speaking from the heart. It was great.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
Yep.
A lot of fun. It's going to be really cool. I got I'm going to be on a podcast, national podcast Thursday night.
Great, man.
With prayer partners.
Okay.
I guess that's what they call themselves, and it's based in Michigan, but it goes all over the Washington and all those places. And apparently, they have big guys that are on there from Congress and stuff like that. So they want me to talk about this book because as we were talking, apparently there is a lot of parents failing this, and they're like, why aren't we talking about this?
Yeah,
so,
right. That's great, man.
So it'll be kind of cool. So anyways, that'll be happening. But look forward to having people on Sunday and getting back to it. And
it's going to be good, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here we are. This is it, man. Live podcast.
We're doing
we're not very animated. I was looking at the camera and we're like, we need to move more when we're talking.
I'm looking at you, not at the camera. But
can we use our hands more when we talk?
I guess.
I don't know.
That will be something I'll have to grow into, buddy.
I know. I'm like just sitting here. I'm
like the 2 o'clock yawns are hitting me.
Yeah,
here. This
I
is
know.
a great podcast to watch. The guy who's on, it's tired.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
And Mary, good job.
Oh yeah,
you're the winner, and you get to win these amazing Detroit Lions socks. But if you want to be a part of it, definitely send in your answer to harborlightbibletrivia@gmail.com, and we'll get you on that board.
Let's go.
The Wilson Insurance
Let's
Wheel
go.
of Destiny.
That's right.
I like this a lot better
It's
than
a great
that.
wheel. Yeah, it's a great
honestly.
wheel. Yeah.
Maybe we need to get a spotlight on it. Maybe.
Ooh.
Like up there.
Like
something.
a little disco ball will come down when we're spinning it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Wilson Insurance.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Why
Wheel
don't
of
we do
Destiny.
that?
That's a good idea.
Can we get one that's got like a remote that comes down?
Probably.
Yeah. I'm going to have to look now.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
We want you to know, find, discover, change with us. More podcast ending transmission. Now.